Good morning. Welcome to the 37th Annual FIRST Conference. For those that don't know me, I'm Tracy Bills, the current chair of FIRST Board of Directors. It's going to be an amazing week as we have 1,079 delegates in attendance. This total is tied with the 2019 conference as having the most attendees. And you can see on the slide that will be up in just a moment, the top 10 countries with the most attendees. But that's not everyone. We have representatives from a total of 110 countries this year. So thank you all for being here. This year's conference theme is Fortresses of the Future, Building Bridges, Not Walls. The conference chair and the program chair will speak more about the theme in just a moment. So I will just say that if you are a first-time attendee, you will quickly discover that the FIRST community is truly spectacular at building relationships. This is a critical skill for successful incident response and security teams. Of course, this week's program wouldn't be possible without the support of others. So a special thank you to Adobe for sponsoring the Sunday evening welcome reception last night. It was a great opportunity to connect with new and old colleagues alike, so I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you to all our amazing conference sponsors for your support. Sponsorship of the annual conference plays a pivotal role and enables us to bring this event to life every year. Many of our sponsors are represented in the exhibit hall. Please spend some time interacting with them this week, and especially tonight during the sponsor showcase reception. Thank you especially to the team at the Danish Defense Intelligence Service for your support as our local host. They have been a critical partner throughout the conference planning process, and a special thanks to Eric in those efforts, and he will speak in just a moment. There's a great program lined up for everyone this week. I would like to thank my fellow board member, Mona, for serving as the 2025 conference chair, and she will tell us more about this year's conference now. So thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 37th Annual FIRST Conference here in Copenhagen, Denmark. It is about time that we went to Scandinavia for the first conference. And I believe that I speak on behalf of all the teams from the region when I say that we are genuinely excited to show you all what Scandinavian summer is all about. This week, the nights are at its shortest in the Northern Hemisphere. So make sure that you enjoy the late sunsets, the early sunrises, and everything in between. Could we have the slide with the number, the attendees back? Is that possible? Because you know we really like to compete in this region, and we have been using it a little bit to make sure that we have a lot of participation from the Scandinavian countries. But I would also, we really like it when Norway is on top. So I come from Norway. And if I do some manipulation here, not really manipulation either, but if I look at the number of participants compared to the number of people from each country, Norway is on top. And if there were as many Americans here as there are Norwegians compared to the number of people in the country, there will be 350,000 Americans here. Just saying. You are now in a country that consistently ranks among the happiest in the world, and in a city that was recently named the best place to live. I won't go into all the metrics behind these rankings, but I do want to dwell on one that I believe is also key to FIRST, and that is trust. One of the reasons Denmark and the other Nordic countries scores this well is precisely because of trust. People here trust each other. They trust that decisions made by their democratically elected leaders are in the interest of the common good. And the trust is not naive, it's foundational. And it doesn't stop at national borders. There is also a deep trust and cooperation among the Nordic countries. When the US administration earlier this year began discussing the idea of taking over Greenland, part of the Danish territory, the prime ministers of the Scandinavian countries and the president of Finland came together for an informal dinner hosted by the Danish prime minister. This wasn't a summit or a formal meeting. No decisions were made. But the point was clear. It was to show support, to discuss difficult topics, and to make sure they understood one another's positions before any decisions might need to be made. I share this story because it highlights something we deeply value in our community as well. The importance of knowing one another before the pressure is on. The importance of having trusted relationships across borders, roles, and organizations, so that when things do get difficult, you know who to turn to. To me, that is exactly what the first annual conference is about. With all that's happening in the world today, this kind of collaboration is not a luxury. It is essential. So this week, I encourage you all to learn, to share, but also to connect. Because those connections are the foundation of our collective resilience. Make sure you talk to someone new. Seek out the people with badges that suggesting that they have not been to the annual first conference before, and attend some sessions that you think maybe is not up your alley. Maybe you learn something new. Okay. So when Copenhagen was confirmed as the host city, we knew right away who we wanted as our program chair. Henrik Larsen has been part of this community for so many years that it felt only natural to ask him. And fortunately for us, he said yes. So it is my great pleasure to introduce you to this year's chair of the program committee. Please join me in welcoming Henrik Larsen on stage.
Thank you, Mona, so much for this introduction, and thank you for persuading me to take the job as program chair. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve as such, and together with the fine program committee that we picked afterwards. I hope we have composed a program for this week that is to your liking. It seems that it has drawn a lot of people, actually. It's a success so far, and I'm sure on Friday we can look back and say we had really good speakers. That's, of course, because we got so many fine submissions, almost 3 times as many as we could host during the week. It was more than 200, 228, as I remember, submissions we received at the deadline in December. The program committee worked hard over Christmas and New Year to select, to review, and to score all of these submissions so that we could have the best possible, most diverse program for you to attend these coming days. We have composed the program in 3 tracks, as one that has an emphasis on organizational and policy topics, and 2 lines of technical topics up here. And then there are a number of side meetings. There are SIG meetings, there are above meetings, and be sure to look the program agenda truly through and see what you can find of goodies there. There are many. And then I shall point to the possibility to give a lightning talk. Please, if you have something that you would like to say, I know there are some who try to send in submissions after the deadline that we unfortunately had to reject, as we rejected 2/3 of the ones that were at the upheld the deadline. So what's coming in after we have had to reject, but we can point to the possibility to register for a lightning talk. Do that at the registration desk. But most of all, I like to thank the very, very fine program committee. You can see all the names and their faces up here, almost all their faces, but we know the last couple. I have met some of the committee this last evening and here, and I hoped to give a hug to everyone in the committee during the week. It has been a very, very pleasant cooperation with these fine people, and let me point to the fact that we actually represent every continent on the globe. Until yesterday, I thought that we missed Antarctica, but it turns up that one of our good members, Logan Wilkins, actually was on a cruise to Antarctica when he reviewed some of the submissions. He had a number of those with him to Antarctica. So we have representation from every corner of this world. As you can see up there, we are many from Europe. There are a number from Asia, from Africa, South America, North America. We are represented from everywhere. Very diverse committee. It was possible to. I'm so glad it was possible to compose a program committee that could cover all. The only thing I'm a little displeased of is that we have so few women in the committee. Only one, but Lisa has done a good job, and it was very, very good that she volunteered for it. But we need more women in the upcoming program committees. The next program committee chair is a woman, but I hope that the women in the audience here will volunteer for next year's program committee so that we can have more diversity and equality on that point as well. Once again, thank you for working with me in the program committee, to all of you, and thank you to the audience for until now accepting the program we have composed. I hope you enjoy the week. Thank you. And now I'll hand over the stage to the next speaker, which is Erik, as Tracy mentioned him earlier, the local host. The name is Achenbach, Erik Achenbach, from His Majesty's Secret Service. Welcome on stage.
Thanks, Henrik. And now it's ended being super spy, apparently. In 2017, I sat on the plane on my way home and had earned my first challenge coin after the first conference in Puerto Rico, and I thought we should have first coming to Copenhagen. Not only because Copenhagen is a wonderful city, but also because Denmark has so much to offer in the cybersecurity realm. And now we're here. On behalf of the Danish Defense Intelligence Service, welcome. I know that we have a high quality program and a tight schedule and long days, but I hope you will find some time to visit Copenhagen and the surrounding areas. As Mona also said, tonight is Midsummer Night, and in Denmark we celebrate that with bonfires along the coastlines, but you also can find bonfire in Nyhavn and in Dragør, which is close by. So once again, go out, explore. For many years, Denmark was only represented by a few teams and a few people, Lars Højbjerg, Michael Mortensen, Cesat, and Henrik Larsen, the old guard, you could say. But now we are more than 17 teams, and as you saw on the previous slides, more than 50 people attending. So please, all participants from Danish teams, please rise. And these people will be more than happy to give you good directions, good advice on where to go, both during the daylight time, but also during night time. I know they will. And now, for the final remark, I have the big honor to introduce my good friend and my former boss, Mark Phil, which is the Deputy Director, not Director yet, but Deputy Director of the Danish Resilience Agency, who will give a short presentation on how we organize and execute cybersecurity in Denmark, seen from a governmental perspective. Mark, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and good morning to everyone. As Eric stated, my name is Mark Fiedel. I'm Deputy Director of the Danish Resilience Agency, and I have the pleasure of introducing some of the topics opening this conference. So in the next 20 or so minutes, I'll be talking a little about what the global context is from a Danish perspective, what are the cyber threats that are facing Denmark, and some of the things that we are doing in order to address these types of threats. First of all, it's a great honor. Thank you for the invitation. I've been working with Eric for a number of years, and since 2017, I believe, he started traveling the world, attending FIRST conferences. They are the ones that he has spoken extremely highly about. So thank you for that. It's an honor to be here. As I mentioned, I'll give a perspective on the global context. So the world we live in has, I think, always been a crazy place. But over the past few years, a lot of things have started that creates an increased degree of uncertainty and cause for both reflection, but also tightening our resilience and security measures. So I'll go through some of these, starting with the bigger picture on the geopolitical side. For instance, the Russian invasion of Ukraine a few years ago, the increasing tension between Russia and the West, that continues to both shape and also transform the threat landscape for Denmark and for Europe. We are facing a number of hybrid means that Russia takes into their toolbox, going from information operations to assassination attempts and sabotage. So those are some of the challenges that we address not only in Denmark, but also in the broader West and Europe. We also face the global competition. China seeks to increase its influence on the political, economical, and military side, and also seeks to be among the world leaders when it comes to critical technologies. The Danish Intelligence and Security Service, the PET, highlights the risks of both what they call illegal technology transfer, that's espionage, including cyber espionage, but also the potential negative effects of being too dependent on Chinese, but also technology aspects from abroad in general terms. And why is this also relevant for Denmark? It's relevant because Denmark is among the most digitized countries in the world. So for citizens, for companies, for industry, for other government agencies, it's the first means of interacting with the public domain is through digital means. So we have an extremely high degree of digitization of a welfare system with automatic processes and systems that makes a lot of sense. So it's scalable, it's efficient, but having a lot of digital dependencies also create vulnerabilities that we need to mitigate, that we need to be aware of, and that we need to have basically plan Bs for in order for us to continue with our societal important functions if something goes wrong. The supply chain security is also something that not only Denmark, but on a global side, everyone needs to focus on. We saw one of the illustrative examples during the COVID-19 pandemic, where we could see dependencies on the supply chain across borders and across territories, but also energy dependency on microchips, dependencies on batteries, and of course the transport bottlenecks. For instance, like we saw in 2021, when the Suez Canal was blocked for about 6 days, that caused ripple effects through the global transportation system. So supply chain security is also something that is a very, very large focus area for Denmark and across a number of countries. Going slightly more focused on what this body of people and organizations address on a daily basis, the cyber threat. At the Danish Resilience Agency, we annually publish a report called the Cyber Threat Against Denmark that highlights some of the most relevant threat scenarios that Danish organizations need to address and take into their risk assessment. We carve this threat landscape up into 5 categories depending on the intent of the cyber attack. So starting with cybercrime, criminal groups are organized criminal ecosystems on a daily basis try to gain access to Danish networks and systems. Again, this is not unique for Denmark. It's something that all of your countries also experience. But in the old days, when criminals did bank robberies and did robberies on the street, today they do ransomware attacks, they do business email compromise. And why is this important also on a national scale? It's important because especially the ransomware gangs are able to pause, disrupt, and sometimes stop critical sectors and critical functions in society. So this is one of the reasons why it's a grave concern and why it's imperative that all organizations running critical infrastructure has this on their radar. I'll get back to that it's in a little while as to what we're trying to do against it. Cyber espionage is basically just espionage through digital attacks. So this is something that derives from intelligence and security agencies based on national intelligence requirements. From a Danish perspective, we assess that Danish organizations are primarily facing cyber espionage deriving from Russia and from China. A lot of countries do cyber espionage, of course, including Iran and North Korea. However, we assess that these are mainly at the moment regional actors, which cause the primary drivers for this type of threat to come from the 2 aforementioned countries. This is something that both consists of espionage for gaining information on security, foreign policy, and topics of national security concerns. However, illegal technology transfer, like I mentioned before, for instance, for organizations doing research and development, being at the forefront of green power research, pharma, and other areas, also in the technology sector, where Denmark has a leading role, will face cyber espionage as one of the things they should address. Cyber activism is the digital equivalent of traditional activism. We've seen a dramatic rise of this ever since the Russian invasion of Ukraine back in 2022. At that point in time, we assessed that this level was low, which is somewhat lower than this. This is the fourth step on a 5-scale ladder. And we assessed that primarily pro-Russian activist groups pose a threat against Danish organizations. So far, we've mainly seen denial of service attacks being used, but also denial of service attacks with still more sophisticated methods. So activist groups applying denial of service attacks through different means, changing their methods during the attacks, but also some denial of service attacks producing to a large extent extremely large scales of data running against systems, not only in Denmark, but also in other Nordic countries. And finally, we saw last December a likely pro-Russian activist group that performed what we would describe as a destructive cyber attack against a small water supply company. So we had activists gaining access to an OT environment that was poorly protected, and they managed to both stop the water flow to a number of citizens, but also actually increased the pressure in the pipes and caused what we call a kinetic disruption. So water pipes basically burst because of the activist attack. So this is one of the first recent destructive cyber attacks that we have confirmed, causing kinetic damage. And this was activists not necessarily knowing what they were doing, but causing this type of disturbance. Destructive cyber attacks, that's basically the equivalent of a B-2 bomber plane. It's the big attack where hackers try to and have the intent of either destroying equipment or making it useless. So we raised this national level last year in June from low to medium, and we did that due to an assessment also from the intelligence services that Russia had an increased willingness to use hybrid means against the West. And we assessed that this also includes destructive cyber attacks. We still assess that the bigger coordinated grand-scale destructive cyber attacks, like the ones hitting Ukraine back in 15 and 16, disrupting the power supply, the destructive cyber attacks that also hit the Danish company Maersk back in 2017, are still less likely to occur against Denmark, but we raised the likelihood of more locally focused wiper attacks against the Danish organization due to the increased Russian willingness. Finally, the threat from cyber terrorism, which we define as the cyber attacks with the same intent as conventional terrorism, causing fear and disruption of society through large-scale attacks. We assess that this is basically not a threat that Danish organizations need to take into account because the usual suspects, so to speak, the militant Sunni extremist organizations like Al-Qaeda or Islamic State, don't have the capabilities and don't have the intent of performing these types of attacks. So this is the global outview. It's the threat overview on what we from Danish government look at. So in the next few minutes, I'll tell you about what we're trying to do in Denmark and what we're trying on a European scale to do to address these types of challenges. Last August, so almost a year ago now, Danish government decided to establish a new ministry, the Ministry of Resilience and Preparedness. And in Denmark, we have a sectoral responsibility, which means that the Danish sectors, for instance, energy, finance, health, telco, etc., they're responsible for the security and the preparedness, both in peacetime, so to speak, but also in times of crisis and uncertainty, and when something shows up that disturbs the operations. This is a good principle because it makes sure that the ones who actually know the handiwork, the knows deep dive into the engine room, they are also responsible for handling this situation in crisis. However, it also means that on top of that, someone needs to coordinate, someone needs to make sure that the sectors talk to each other, and as of August 24, this is now our ministry who's responsible for this. And also, as a consequence of this, we established the Danish Resilience Agency, which I represent today. And we got the extremely motivating, but also a little daunting challenge of saying all of the challenges that are not specific to one sector that needs to be addressed, the one agency that everybody needs to come and ask questions to, so how do we address this? That's us. So that ranges from extreme weather phenomena to influence operations, to cyber risks, to espionage, to sabotage, and to terrorism. So that's part of our mandate. We also have the mandate of doing the cross-sectoral crisis management and coordination. And that's one of the reasons why we did this. That's because of the global security situation that I described, and because someone needs to look across the sectors. On a European level, the Europeans here in this audience know the NIS2 directive. So for the rest of you, that's an EU directive on security, network, and information systems. The NIS2 is implemented in today 8 days from now in Denmark. And that has the objective of heightening the cyber resilience and security across the European member states. And it's as the name implies, it's a continuation, it's the successor of the NIS1 directive already in question. But the NIS2 directive sets new standards. It widens the scope, introducing more sectors. It increases the requirements for the entities being under the NIS2, and it strengthens the measures in which the oversight authorities are able to actually do oversight, but also make sure that the entities are compliant with the NIS2. So what does that mean for the Danish organization? It means that, for instance, now executive level leadership now has to take an active part in both the management of risk, but also which mitigations are set in place. It also means that organizations who are responsible for the oversight now have the ability to not only use fines on entities who are not compliant, but in some of the extreme situations are able to actually remove people from executive level leadership roles in the organizations in place. It also introduces requirements in regard to cryptography, for logging, for continuity plans, for multi-factor authentication, and a lot of other parts of what this body of people know a lot about, and which we basically on a day-to-day basis think are basic cyber hygiene. However, it's not in place to the relevant level today, and this is some of the things that NIS2 will help drive forward. And finally, it also states requirements for the entities doing societal important functions, for whenever they have incidents of consequence or near incidents of consequence, not only having a consequence for themselves, but also consequences across the European level. They are then obliged to do incident reporting to the national authorities in 24 hours. So that's a quite new thing, driving requirement for the organizations being covered by NIS2 to mature their own sense of monitoring, detection, and able to do response. In the last few minutes, I hope there's time for a question. Just want to basically say that in a topic like this, cybersecurity, IT security, as it's already been mentioned earlier on, personal relationships matter. So having a known face on the handle in the other end of the chat is just extremely important, because that highlights and enforces the trust that's necessary for sharing. Because international cooperation in this domain is alpha omega. So no country is self-sufficient. It's extremely positive that we have 110 countries represented here today. So make use of that. Talk to each other, be inspired by each other, and first of all, make sure that you get to know each other. And then, as Eric mentioned, make use of Copenhagen. It's a nice city, especially when it doesn't rain. And with that, I hope I might have a few questions for you, if anyone has any. And I know there are microphones. I can't see anything because the projectors are like blazing in my eyes, so... Someone is running to the microphone, I think. Yeah?
Hello. Peter from Denmark here. I'm just wondering, and I think some of the other national certs are figuring out how to do this in a good way as well. Your threat levels, I mean, is it how many people are knocking on your doors? Is it compared with how resilient your society is? And how do you make that assessment of resilience? How relevant is that? Do you have any reflections about how to do it? Because it also has to keep being relevant. If it's just high all the time, what does that mean? Any reflections on that whole thing?
Sure. And I'll keep it brief, because otherwise I'll get dragged from the stage. So when we do threat assessments, we basically look at the adversarial intent and the adversarial capability. So whether it be criminals or state actors, we look at, do they have sufficient means of performing cyber attacks, and are they willing to throw these towards Danish organizations? And when it comes to cybercrime and cyber espionage, we have looked at a continuously higher level of activity. We see automated attacks basically hitting Danish networks all of the time. So this is not a risk assessment, because we don't see critical infrastructure like being disrupted the entire time in Denmark, fortunately. And this is because of the mitigations. This is because the organizations in questions have a high degree of cybersecurity. It's because they have mitigations in place, making sure that the hackers don't gain access all of the time. So that's the reflections on the cyber threat assessment. It's not the risk assessment. That's something that should be performed and made out in the specific individual organizations, and we are happy to support that from our agency. And now I can see the time might be running out.
Maybe
it's up to you.
Very short question. I observe that it's very unusual that people from intelligence services are on stages. I kind of saw a kind of contextualized threat analysis, so that indicates to me that you do something different. What is your secret? How do you get all the players to talk to each other? Why do you talk? That's what lies behind that. And I think that's an important thing for our community. You seem to have some secret ingredient that a lot of other countries don't have.
Okay, so getting the intelligence community out, talking to...
Getting the intelligence community out, but also you seem to talk to other government departments.
Okay. Well, I think one of the ingredients is the high degree of trust in Danish society and Danish organizations. Going back to knowing each other, so Denmark, it's a small and puny country on the bigger scale, which means that we almost know each other. It's kind of it's a small family when we're talking about security, also in the Scandinavian countries. One of the other things, and that's quite central, is that we and the intelligence organization have access to a lot of classified information. We use that to analyze, we use that to make assessments, and then we communicate that to the public. So there's a lot of calculations behind this that we can't and won't talk about, because that would compromise the information assets. But the conclusions are the same. So we can always go out in the public and talk about our conclusions and what they mean and what organizations need to do about it. And I think that's one of the primary motivators for people like us and people like the intelligence service to go out publicly and talking. We should use our information and share it and make sure that it lives out there. I think that's the shortest answer I can do, because otherwise I'll be dismissed from stage. Yeah. So thank you very much. Have a great conference, and thank you for the invitation.
Jesus, wow, those lights aren't bright. Good morning all. My name's Chris Gibson. I'm the CEO of First. Whoa, no. Thank you all for coming. I mean, I can barely see the back of the room, but it's a crowded room. This is really quite awesome. Thank you for coming to Denmark. Thank you for coming to Copenhagen. I'm here to talk about CORE. CORE is a new program that we've released. If you've been to the website this morning, you may even notice there's a new button at the top of the page that talks about our community activities and how we bring communities together. It's a strategic program we've launched. It's designed to enhance cooperation and incident response around the world, sharing the insights of all of us, joining us all together and improving cybersecurity. It's baked into our DNA. We all know what our vision and mission is. Our vision and mission is to improve that. CORE allows us to fund that in a different way, but it allows us to pursue that vision in a big, big way. CORE stands for, fostering community. We all believe in community. We've heard it even this morning. Even the intelligence agencies are saying community, talk, collaborate, talk to each other. That's hugely important. Again, baked into our DNA. We've done it for years. We want to do more of it. We want to improve operational capacity. It's all very well saying we're in 113 countries or whatever we are today. That's great. That's less than 2/3 of the world. If we look at the continent of Africa, huge parts missing. The Pacific, the Caribbean, other areas around the world, Central Asia, lots of places we need to get to, lots of places we need to improve. So we want to improve that capability around the world. First has always had this, you have to be good to join first, but we need to reach into the teams that are budding members who are coming up the ladder and help them become good so they can properly join first and join the community. But the sooner they do that, the better, globally, for us, for everyone. We want to build resilience into that digital ecosystem, so that's hugely important. We all know that's important, but again, that's part of CORE. And finally, we want to empower people. We want to empower teams around the world, in Africa, in the Caribbean, in Asia, everywhere, to be able to do the best they can, but through collaborating. So that's what CORE is all about. And as I say, top right button on the website now, there's a new one, it talks about this. The program will provide us critical funding to do this through our capacity and community building program. That focuses on exactly what we're talking about, developing incident response capability in regions where resources are limited. It builds on our long history of education, training and knowledge sharing within FIRST and within the incident response community that we hope to represent and to bring together. So what does that actually mean we're going to do? We're going to develop new and we're going to update the training content we have. We've got lots of stuff. We've all got stuff. We need to bring it together. We need to create proper, structured stuff that we can help teams learn from. We want to subsidize training costs for those lower income partners because we can't get them to the conference. They can't get to the conference if they haven't got the money. So how can we help them in that way? Clearly, we're going to increase the fellowship program that we have. That started back when I was on the board 10, 15 years ago, where we decided we'd bring teams to the conference. That's really cool, but what about the rest of the year? Where's our reaching out? Where's our working with them throughout the year? So we want to improve that. And finally, in a perfect world, we want these regional liaisons and mentors. We want people to help other people. That's what we've always done at FIRST, but we need to build that up, we need to big it up, we need to make it better. So this program launch is a significant step for us. It's in our mission to do all those things. We're working on initiatives through some of the government grants in A4, the Caribbean and West and African countries, and clearly we have our African liaisons. Really, really cool, but that's not doing the whole world. We need to be bigger and better. So I am super proud, so proud, to announce that Fortinet is joining us in this program. Fortinet's leadership as that founding member of the program demonstrates their commitment to making the world a safer place, to strengthening cybersecurity knowledge across industries and borders. And together, we feel that we can help do this. Now, we want more, but Fortinet, first ones, oh my God, brilliant, so cool. Big round of applause to Fortinet. Our plan is we will continue to grow this program, so clearly, if anyone wants to talk, we're all here to listen to you, but to make this world a better place. Now I'd like to introduce Doug. He says, and I can't see a damn thing with the lights on, but Doug from Fortinet, who's going to say a few words.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's great. Good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure and an honor to be here with you all today. First, I want to thank the amazing FIRST community, the organizers, and all of you that showed up today. We've built something really special here today, a safe place where we can come along, share, and network, and grow together stronger as defenders. At Fortinet, we've always held the same belief that cybersecurity is not something that you do in isolation. Our relationship with FIRST is rooted in that same understanding. We feel proud to walk alongside FIRST for 13 years right now, working together to strengthen resilience, not just in companies and sectors, but across borders and entire ecosystems. Even before the official announcement and involvement with CORE, Fortinet has been engaged, showing up at conferences, sharing our threat intelligence research, contributing to working groups, and supporting special interest groups, and also developing and sharing intelligence to help take EPSS off the ground. But the core partnership, that takes things to a whole new level. It's not about participation anymore, it's about commitment. We're leaning out with long-term support for capacity building, especially in places that are still very much developing their capacities. We've moved from showing up to building together, a shift that has been and will be powerful. And let's be honest, the world we're defending has changed dramatically. In just the last few years, we've seen threats move faster, harder, and become more complex. Geopolitical risks, supply chain breaches, and new forms of deception. As cybersecurity practitioners, we go to sleep every night not knowing what kind of challenge the next morning will bring. And yet, that's exactly what makes this field so exciting. It's the adrenaline of not knowing what's coming next, but knowing we're going to meet it head on. But let's not sugarcoat it. It's not just about speed. We need to respond with creativity, context, and with a clear understanding of the impact that the defensive measures will have on the people and the systems we're protecting. That's why exactly we need each other. We don't have the luxury of working in silos. We need to share quickly, build smart, and adapt together in real time. So what's next? For Fortinet, the path forward is clear. Keep showing up, but also keep leveling up. We're committed to continue to support this community, not just with technology, but with time, people, and a shared purpose. Whether that's through regional initiatives, training, or co-developed solutions that work globally, we're in this together. I want to close by simply saying thank you. Thank you for welcoming us into this community. Thank you for doing the hard work, the alerts, the 2 a.m. incident calls, the is this normal log dives that makes the internet safer for millions of people who never see what happens behind the scenes. I'm looking forward to the conversations ahead and to everything we'll continue to build together. Thank you.
Someone left their glasses. You need them? So thank you, Chris. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Fortinet. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the core program will bring in the future. That's one of the really exciting news this week. Okay, we are moving back to what is going to happen this week. And one of the cornerstones of the annual FIRST conference is the Capture the Flag competition. Some people come here just to participate and compete in the CTF. It is therefore my pleasure to invite the chair of the SEC Lounge SIG, David Dervaux, on stage to present this year's competition.
Okay, perfect. So, welcome everybody. It's indeed my pleasure to announce the 14th edition of the CTF. So it's something we organize every year. Mana mentioned that the conference is a place to learn and make new friends. And actually the CTF exactly followed that purpose among others. So we organized the CTF since first in Malta, so 14 years ago. You will see that that's typically challenges. So the idea that there is a hidden flag that you will need to find. And it's typically made for this conference and this audience. So all the content is brand new, and you will see that the type of challenges we have is broader and broader, and typically all link to the incident response field. So this year, we have, as of today, because we continue to upload some 130 challenges that will be spread over 4 days, we release new challenges every day. We have it as of today, because again, it's growing, a maximum amount of pound close to 20,000. And it'll be in the lounge if you have issues, as well as the virtual lounge Mattermost, on the first floor in the tree house. So I really invite you to come. We have some physical challenge as well, so definitely worth to go to tree house. As I mentioned, one of the ideas as well is that the CTF is played in teams, team up to 4, and ideally, well, also an opportunity to make new friends. So we had a case 2 years ago where the team that was leading for quite a long time was made on the spot at the conference. So even if you don't know yet the person with who will play, build a team, give a try, and you might actually succeed. I will not go to all the details. All those slides are also available in the lounge. We don't have only technical challenge. We used to, now it changed over the years. We also have some challenge that require to go to some other attendees in the conference. So again, a way to make new friends. There are legal challenges as well. There are some IoT challenges, hardware challenges, network, and so on and so forth. Coding as well. We have some challenges that require to play with a keyboard this year. So really a lot of different materials. We will start at 10 a.m. today, and we'll release the first batch of about 42 challenges. On Friday, that's an important note, the team that win will actually come on stage and present whatever they want in terms of experience, things they like, things they don't like, things they learn, and there are some prizes as well. In terms of rules and tips in a nutshell, so that's a defensive CTF. There is nothing you need to attack. You can do it mostly with any open source tool you can find. You can even, in certain cases, play with a tablet or a phone. You won't be able to do all the challenges, but you can do a decent amount of challenges just with a phone or a tablet. So even if you don't have a laptop with you, give a try. It works to play. The coin challenge. So if you reach 1,000 points, the first 50 teams that will reach 1,000 points will get a physical coin, which is different from the conference coin. On that coin itself, there is a challenge as well, which is also a way to award the team that managed to reach 1,000 points. So again, 1,000 points versus nearly 20,000 points. This is a reasonable and feasible threshold, so feel free to give a try, and we strongly encourage that you play. To access the CTF, it's online since a week or so. So you can go to ctf.firsteclaunch.org. It will ask for registration code, which is !Checkers2025! That's on the conference app as well. So if you go to CTF, you will find the registration code as well as the link. when you create, you will also automatically receive credentials from Mattermost, which is a way to reach us, ask questions, and again, build teams, as well as SecDim that support the CTF with coding challenges, which are also very nice and quite unique. If you have any questions, feel free to reach us by email, and I'm sure the first team is also pleased to help in case of issues. Schedule, as I mentioned, as of 10 today, we will release the first set of challenge. We will release every day around 8 a new batch of challenges, up to Thursday included. On Thursday, we'll automatically close at 4 p.m. local time, and then we will follow with a debrief session again in the 3 hours. So if you have questions, if you want to provide feedback, again, more than welcome. So that I already covered. So prizes, I said, there are some prizes, some very nice prizes on Friday for the first 3 teams, which are also part of the award ceremony that closed the conference on Friday. I guess I already mentioned the question issue. And just to conclude, to give a bit of an idea, it was growing year after year. This year we have close to 19 organizations that support us. It changed a bit over the time, but there are more and more teams that are recurrent contributors, and we have a huge amount of contributors this year. It is how we managed to have such a broad amount of challenges and content. So all of those persons bring their expertise, their knowledge to create challenges that are pertinent for this audience. And I guess they all deserve some applause for their contribution. Thanks a lot, and enjoy the CTF.
Thank you, David. Then over to another important event at the first annual conference, the unofficial first football event. So Mikael Mortensen, do you want to come on stage and talk about it?
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Mortensen, out of Copenhagen, from Nucleus Security. And a long-term tradition at the annual first conference is the unofficial football networking event. The purpose of this is for everyone to connect in another way, in a fun, active way. So tonight I have organized the football event at what is called DGI Byen Citizen, and we will meet up in the lobby at 6:20 over at the hotel, and then we will go together, and we have reserved 2 football pitches from where we can play for 2 hours. We are currently 38 participants registered, and we can max be 40. So if some of you who registered do not show up, please let me know. If others want to join, reach out to me. We will put the details at the registration desk as well. When we get to the area, there will be rooms for changing and taking showers, so it's up to people if they want to do it there or go back to the hotel. After the football match, we have made a reservation at Tap House, which is one of the European largest beer houses with 61 taps, where the first 1 or 2 rounds will be on Nucleus. So another way to connect and make peers and trust, and I hope the people that have signed up for this will join it and show up. So thanks for this. Thanks to Nucleus for supporting and sponsoring this, and for FIRST to support it as well. Thank you.